I've been experimenting with these wheel discs I wanted to try to make. My first attempt, I'm using fiberglass, and mainly because I had it left over, from the glass work I did on old number 27. So didn't have to spend any money, so I thought I'd try that first. So wanting to make a flat sheet that I could cut up to make into a cone, I laid the glass on top of this melamine board, white melamine. It's kind of slick so the epoxy doesn't stick to it. I wetted that out, and then the next day it was flat, and I pulled it up off the melamine board. So I had this flat sheet, and I sanded that smooth, and then I laid on another layer of epoxy. So it turned out fairly nice. So then I went over and I took the cardboard pattern I made and I cut it apart, and then transferred the shape onto, this is a piece of fiberglass here. It was square, now it's round, and I sliced it, and then I brought it together, and then put some glass on the inside and outside of the seam. So it doesn't look half bad, except there's this bump right here. Because this thing's under tension, it wants to push up. So I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like hell. It's just got this little ridge here, and of course if you sand through the ridge to make it flat, it comes apart. And you wouldn't want to put a bunch of Bondo on it. I'm going to paint this thing glossy, so, I want it as smooth as I can get. But, I made two of them, so, I took one of them and I put it on there, I sanded it, and heck, it doesn't look too bad, but it's not really true, and there's ripples in it, and then this seam here is just pronounced as all get out. So I don't like that. But, and then I want, the fit here needs to be a little bit better, so I have to refine that. But, it might not be a bad thing if I can just get a little better at it. So, and then another thing here, take it over here, is that one of the discs, I'll just balance it on here. See if I can hang on here without putting any weight on it. Okay. 4.4 ounces, 4.5 ounces per disc. Now, the one in my hand I haven't sanded yet. See how it's kind of glossy looking. This one down here, I sanded it inside and out, so it took a little weight off of it. So anyway, what I'm going to try to do next is lay this up in one piece so there's no joint. So in order to do that, I thought I could just take the disc, lay it down, and then drape the plastic over it, and wet it out. And then it'd be a cone shape already. But this cardstock I use is really, about the thickness of a business card. It's not thick enough, and under the weight of the glass it wants to buckle, and I need it to be a little bit stiffer. So I bought some poster board over at Walgreens drugstore, 99 cents a sheet. So it's a little bit stiffer, and I'm going to see if I can create a cone shape that will hold up under the weight of me applying the epoxy, and then it'll dry in a cone shape with no seam. We'll see if that works. I'll probably put some, I got some wax paper, good old wax paper, and I can put that over this paper. I found out, I've done this similar to this before, and I determined that, I can glass over wax paper and Scotch tape, and it'll release from the epoxy after it's dry. So I'll probably cover the cone, the paper cone, with plastic, wax paper, so that I can use, if it works, I need to make 2 of them from each cone shape. So hopefully it won't destroy the mold. And we'll see if I can get a 1-piece fiberglass disc with no ripples and more consistent, no ridges from a joint. So anyway, I'll give you an update after I give it a shot. Okay, now I'm going to lay out the circle and cut it out of this poster board. I made this little cardboard, compass here, a nail, and then this is, I decided to make the disc 17 inches. It was 16 3/4, so I'm making it 17, maybe a little bit bigger, so I can fit it to the rim a little bit better. So anyway, piece of cardboard, 8.5 inches, put a hole, stick a pencil in there, boom, run it around. Now I'm going to cut out the circle, try to make a cone shape out of it. Okay, so I cut a circle using my little cardboard compass. Then I cut it with the scissors here. And then I cut out the little tab with the X-Acto knife. So now, if I lay it in the rim, it goes in pretty good, but I need to use my ruler and measure down all the way around with some masking tape. Probably, I think, 1/2 inch. So I'll go around and I'll put tape. I'll work my way around, and that will bring this joint together, which I can tape and make it lay flat right here. So it'll be consistent depth. So we'll see how that works out. Alright, so let's take this thing up. I've got some tape tabs here, and I'll work my way around. Decided I'm going to do 1/2 inch. I'll just kind of wing it here, see if it works. It's not looking too bad. Let's see. Because it's kind of under tension here, you can see it's kind of springy, so if this disc is too big, by even a little bit, it won't lay down right here. So I started at 17 inches, and then I trimmed it to 16 7/8. And that's just hitting pretty good. There's these little dimples here, like it not show, but we'll see. That looks pretty good. This rim's kind of boogered up, so it might be a little out of round. But I'm doing this so that this joint will come together. See, it's wanting to fight me right there. I put too much tape too soon. See, it's kind of a trial and error thing. I had it laying down pretty good. Okay, maybe that'll get it. Well, it's standing a little tall, but I could trim the outside edge, sand it. So let's see, let's put some tape on this seam here and see if we can get us a cone shape out of it. not very scientific, but you know, you just do what you can. Fiddle around with it, keep moving your hands, and pretty soon something comes out of it. Okay, so let's see here. So get these off. So I'm counting on the fact that I can finesse it into the rim once it's a piece of fiberglass. So the theory is that, see how that doesn't lay particularly flat? Yeah, that's not good. Well, the idea is this is poster board. It's a little thicker than that other stuff. So then I'll lay the glass. I'll cover this with wax paper. Then I'll lay the glass over it. See, I can already tell that when I start wetting it out, it's a little stiffer, a little bit stiffer. But I'll have to refine that cone. It's a little bit out of round because I'm just winging it. So, but you know, this might work. All right, I'll give you an update later. Okay, so a little bit different technique for trying to get this seam to come together. I tried taping it down, but it ended up being inconsistent. So then I just added the weight of a pencil. So there's not, you know, so that's fairly even. It's laying down on the rim. I rounded up a different rim. This one's all rougher than hell. The chrome is all coming off of it, but it's round. It doesn't have a dent in it. So now, right here, it's nice. It's laying down real good. It looks to be a consistent depth. And so now I can take this joint. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Lay that on there lightly. This is looking better already. Okay. So those. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. A lot better. Now it's flat across the top. That's important, so it lays right there. Because I'm going to Velcro it in here in some fashion, and I don't want it all hanging out wild. Okay, so a little bit more tape. Turn it over here. Take down the seam. So, you know, I don't have a clue whether this whole idea is going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. You know, what the heck. I've got the fiberglass and I've got the resin, and if I can get it to release from the mold here, you know, it's just basically a gravity mold, you know, just a weight of gravity, and